What's good, y'all? It is Sean P, the Bluff God. Hey! And we are back again with another reaction stream. Man. Alright, so today we will be reacting to one of my personal favorite One Piece YouTube content creators, Joy Boy Theories. He's probably one of the people who really got me into like loving loving the community of One Piece. You know what I'm saying? Like really loving One Piece as far as, you know, how we look at theories, we look at all these different things, and we really dive deep into like the culture of One Piece of, you know, what could be, you know, what this meant, what that meant, you know. Like, you know, I gotta credit that to him. You know, not solely him, but he is definitely one of the people who really, you know, got me falling in, that really helped me fall in love with One Piece. So but yeah, but before we get into the video, well, I forgot to give y'all the title of the video. Today we will be reacting to Joy Boy Theories, the legendary Devil Fruit. And I'm gonna talk about what I think this. I didn't watch none of the video, so I don't know what he's talking about. But I'm gonna tell y'all what I think the video is gonna be about. But anyway, yeah, make sure you like this video, or not this video, the stream, like the stream, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. I am doing a giveaway at 50 subscribers. I'll be giving two lucky subscribers. Two of those, not two per subscriber, but like two Straw Hat Jolly Rogers to two lucky subscribers. So yeah, so make sure you follow me on Instagram, on Twitter, on my Facebook page. Join the One Piece Facebook group and the One Piece Discord if you want to be a part of a community. And the links all will be in the description box. And yeah, as well as the original video that we will be reacting to. So make sure you hit that link to Joy Boy's channel. Give him a like. You know, I'm pretty sure I can already tell. You know, knowing Joy Boy, I can already tell it's probably worthy of hitting that like button. And subscribe if you haven't, because he does make great content. He makes great content, very well thought out content. I love his perspective on stuff that goes on. So yeah, definitely. Okay, I see we got some chats. So let me check these chats out. We got Cube in the building. He said right on time for the intro. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He said it's been a minute. It's only been yesterday. What you talking? we did a stream yesterday. You was there. I remember you being there. Come on now, man. Come on now. It's been a minute as far as a day, maybe like a literal minute, maybe if you count 60 seconds. Yeah, it's been a minute. But are you saying it's been a minute since you made the intro? I mean, I guess so, because I think the last few videos you kind of came in like maybe right when I was starting the reaction video. Sometime before that. I don't know. But I know you was here for yesterday's stream. Come on now. You said I see you got the beginning of your Akainu tattoo. Nah, that's my nah, bro. Kano got my tattoo, man. Come on now. That's my Thundercat. And it's like something else. It's like a forest that, you know, it ain't even done, but something I've been needing to get done for a while now, but you know, I ain't been in no rush to complete it. But you said talking about the intro, been logging in 3 minutes late. Hey, bro. I mean, hey, as long as you here, man, that's all I can really ask for, you know. Regardless, better late than never, you know. But it's nice that you made the intro, I guess. You know, It's nice that you made the intro, and I'm thankful that you're here, and you're here for the intro as well. I'm thankful that you're both here, just here in general, and I'm thankful that you're here for the intro, so you can see the energy that I exude. Well, okay, so the video we're doing, I gave y'all the title. It says the legendary devil fruit, and if you see the thumbnail, if you go and see Joy Boy's thumbnail to this video, you see that it has Zunisha in it. So just kind of putting things together of what I kind of expect this video to be about. Maybe not. I don't want to say expect, because I don't like to put expectations, because then if it goes completely left and I'm wrong, then I don't want to be disappointed. Oh man, I was no. But what I think that this video is about. So according to according to One Piece chapter 1037. I don't remember the title of that one, but that's either here nor there. At the end of that chapter, we cut to the Gorosei talking, right? And one thing they're talking about is this devil fruit, like being awakened, right? Like this devil fruit awakening. And I remember doing the reaction to the chapter, and I remember doing the reaction to the chapter, and we was talking about, like, what could this devil fruit be that they're talking about? Like, what's this mysterious devil fruit that they're talking about, that they had to change the name of the devil fruit just so people could forget the name of the devil fruit. They said it hasn't been awakened in, like, I want to say hundreds of years or thousands. I don't know thousands, but I think they said hundreds of years or maybe decades. I can't remember how long it hasn't been awakened, but it hasn't been awakened for a long time. And I'm pretty sure Cube was probably going to correct me, so I'll just wait for him to correct me. They said it hasn't awakened for a while. Right, and we went back and forth to what is this mysterious devil fruit that they could be talking about. I think the obvious answer for most of One Piece fandom, is the Gummo Gummo no Mi. Because for some reason, anytime something happens that's mysterious, it always has to relate to Luffy, right? It always has to, in a lot of people's heads, it always has to be Luffy. It always has to relate to the Straw Hats or something. And me personally, I didn't think that was the case. I also don't want to count that being a possibility out, but I didn't think that was the case. I talked about it could be possibly Law. I'm trying to think who else we talked about. Maybe Kaido. I thought about Momo's devil fruit, but his is artificial. Like, his was artificially made, so his wasn't even around as, like, his was made by Vegapunk, and unless Vegapunk is immortal and been around since the Ancient Kingdom, I don't think, and like, let's say he's been around since the Ancient Kingdom and he made that devil fruit when he was in the Ancient Kingdom, then I could see that being the case. But no, because I don't think Vegapunk is immortal. I think he probably lived as long as most humans in One Piece. So I kind of don't think I don't think it's Momo's devil fruit. So I'm thinking, I seen Joy Boy post this video, right, yesterday, and it kind of had me thinking, based off the thumbnail that I seen, based off the title, the legendary devil fruit, and I start thinking, right, about some of the theories that I heard for the last 2 weeks. One by Elids. Elids, he kind of was the first person I heard say it. I'm not saying it originated from him. I don't know, but I'm not saying he got it from somebody else, but maybe it was a theory that he had and maybe some other people had. But he told me about Zunisha being the ancient weapon Pluton. Him being the ship, right? Him being the ship. So seeing this theory pop up on my timeline, I'm like, it had me thinking, and I'm like, what this devil fruit? What could it be? It could be maybe the devil fruit could be Pluton, or maybe like if Zunisha is Pluton, maybe it's because of the devil fruit that made it Pluton. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what I'm thinking. This theory might be going. That's where this theory might be going. It might be suggesting that Zonisha could be a ship. Like maybe it has a ship devil fruit, right? And that's probably why it's so big and it can move in the ocean. Maybe it has like a Pluton devil fruit. Maybe that's the awakening the Gorosei was talking about. The awakening of this devil fruit that makes it Pluton. You know what I'm saying? So, and it would make sense though. It would make sense if Zunisha is indeed Pluton, and it's because of this devil fruit. Like once, because Zunisha is already big enough to be capable of destroying large masses of land, right? So that's kind of my speculation on what this speculation might be. My speculation on the speculation, I guess. Looking at the chat, Cube said, has it awakened for a very long time and that even the Gorosei belief was a myth? Yeah, I don't think an ancient weapon is a devil fruit. That's kind of where I disagree with you on, Cube, and I was just about to talk about that. I actually think that could be the case. Cause think about it. Hear me out. Hear me out. Hear me out. The ancient weapons are all. I kind of think they could be different. Because we know that Pluton is indeed a ship, right? Shirahoshi or Poseidon is a mermaid princess. It's two completely different things. One is sentient and one ain't, right? But maybe Pluton is sentient if Pluton is indeed Zunisha. So like my dang, I'm kind of forgetting where I was going with this, but it could make sense. I mean, I'm kind of still on board that because from what we know, Frankie had the blueprints to Pluton. But maybe that's more so to build. Maybe that's not real Pluton. Maybe maybe you can't really build Pluton. But again, I don't know. Like it's a real tough topic to talk about. But if it would make sense that for me, it could be like, okay, Poseidon is a mermaid princess. Pluton is a devil fruit that could give ship type abilities, that could turn whoever eat it into, like, the actual devil fruit isn't maybe Pluton, but the devil fruit grants its user to be Pluton, maybe, something along like that. Like, so I guess the devil fruit would be Pluton, but and then Uranus could be Uranus could be like a weather machine. You know what I'm saying? Like a weather machine. I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating. It's kind of a reach, but I'm curious to see what Joy Boy's going to say. Maybe he might piece things together. Then I could piece things together. Because this whole me speculating this kind of came. Like it's not something I've been sitting on for a while to really fully flesh out my thought on it. But it's just an idea. You said, I feel ancient weapons have powers that surpass what a devil fruit could do. So why did they have blueprints for Pluton? That's why I'm against Pluton being a devil fruit. Uranus could be a devil fruit. I mean, but like I said, the blueprints could just be to try to recreate it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you can't really build a real ancient weapon. Maybe you can't build a real ancient weapon. And if that's the case, then my theory on Uranus being a weather machine would be wrong. But like Poseidon, like if you look at Poseidon, how is Poseidon is more of like a natural occurrence, right? You know, the princess, you know, unless she took like a potion or something, like, or like her ancestor took like, or had done some magic, like, I don't know, like, how could some ancient weapons be built, but another one is only more born into the world? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got ancient weapons that could be built, and one an ancient weapon that could be born into the world, and that could actually make sense to that one. Remember that Nami theory? That Nami being Uranus. Remember that one that we kind of was joking about? If you know, if this is the case that Pluto or ancient weapons can't be built, then that would mean kind of like Poseidon. We know Poseidon's the mermaid princess. If Pluton is indeed Zunisha, and Uranus is maybe Nami, just kind of throwing that out there, you know, because it's kind of something me and Q came up with in one of the streams. We was kind of joking about Nami being Uranus because she controls weather, and I kept talking about how I believe that Uranus could, you know, it manipulates the weather. So those are three like actual beings, you know, three people, not people, because Pluton is not a person. It's a, you know, and if Pluton is Zunisha, Pluton wouldn't be a person, right? So, I mean, I don't know. I'm just kind of shooting. I'm just shooting darts. I'm just reaching right now. So you said Uranus could be a devil fruit. I could be behind a devil fruit creating Pluton. Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm saying. Like, if the devil fruit that the Gorosei was talking about was like this devil fruit that hasn't awakened in years, that is some special devil fruit. So just imagine it awakening and being a ship, being Pluton. You know what I'm saying? Say if Zunisha, you know, like once Zunisha awakens, maybe Zunisha turns into a huge ship. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe Zunisha's already a ship. I don't know. You know, but like kind of reading that chapter back now, and we see the Gorosei talking about this ship, this devil fruit, and then like in the same moment they was talking about it, we see Zoe. I at least think if Zoe isn't indeed Pluton, I do think whatever this devil fruit they're talking about is probably associated with Zonisha. You know, maybe it's not Pluton. Maybe Pluton is actual ship. You know, cool. But anyway, let me read the last of these chats, and then we're gonna get to the video. I kind of talked long enough. You said I need to write that Nami Uranus theory. We'll work on it. All right, man. You do that and tell me what you I feel like I got something in my beard. But yeah, tell me what you come up with if you do that. But let's get to this theory. Let's get to this video.
Hey YouTube, Joyboy here. So,
Joyboy
been a little
here.
while since we've done one of these, but you guys know how we do the video. Talk about the official translation, compare it to the fan translation, note any difference, talk about literally anything at all, and then get into comments from you guys. I can't promise you that I will do a comments video next week, but after the last chapter, okay, this was a comments video chapter. I had to. Not that anybody is complaining. And actually, we're going to start this video off with a comment because I saw this in my comment section. Huge shout out to Saeed, who I've known for a long time, been in the community.
Okay, so I guess he's responding to comments about it. So, you know, maybe I chose the wrong video. I don't know, but let's watch it. Let's see what he talks about.
For a long time, and as far as I'm aware, has recently taken it upon himself to essentially do the comparison between the official and the fan translation over the past few months. Bro has basically made me irrelevant. Not that I was ever very good at this. This is actually his translation versus fan translation. We'll talk a little bit about the official as well. I'm taking his word for this because I trust him. But if he's wrong, that's totally on him and has nothing to do with me. I'm guilt-free, conscience-free. Okay, let's read it. There are 3 inaccuracies in the fan translation. One of them is when Kaido talked about rebuilding the castle. The more accurate one is rebuild it, huh? It took 5 years to build it though, man. There doesn't seem to be here too much difference between what the fan translation gave us, but Kaido was definitely more affirmative in the length it took to build Onigashima. There was no question. The second one is the conversation between the 5 Elder Stars. Gorosei, they didn't mention that nuisance. They said, if it's a battle with Kaido and Big Mom, it's not unnatural for someone to die. They should be erased.
Yeah.
And also in the official translation here, they used a word that's kind of interchangeable, sort of, with nuisance. The official said when Kaido and Big Mom are involved in a fight, death could come easily for anyone, which makes it the perfect cover to eliminate inconveniences. Inconvenience, nuisance, similar. But I like
being
that
like
Saeed is
Luffy.
addressing this nuisance comment because I think that by nature it kind of directs your thoughts. Like, who would the Gorosei consider to be a nuisance? What kind of character would you imagine when they talk about nuisance? It directs your thoughts in a particular way, like Luffy or X-Drake. I kind of imagine
Possibly who's who, because you know we seen CP0 talk about they had somebody that they wanted to erase, and that was in the same chapter I think where we see who's who talk about. I don't know if it was the same chapter or the chapter after, but it was still a part that Jinbei and who's who fight. But we know who's who was a CP9 agent at the time, and he said he had just as much potential as Rob Lucci. And, you know, they pretty much was like, hey, you know, we can't let him, you know, we can't let somebody with that type of knowledge just continue living. And it seemed like it was heavily implied by who's who. So, but maybe somebody like who's who ain't really that much of a, and maybe he's not like in the front of the Gorosei's mind. You know, maybe that's more of a CP0 issue beef type thing, you know? Like, yeah, he used to be one of us, so we got to deal with him.
a character who has been a thorn in the Gorosei's side, almost like
You said Robin could be seen as nuisance. Yeah, I mean, I think they mean multiple people. I think they mean like the Straw Hats in general, you know? I think they mean the Straw Hats in general. I don't know if they really care about Kid and Law and all that, but definitely the Straw Hats, because the Straw Hats directly declared war on the world government, and they've been pretty much, you know, foiling a lot of world government issue or things. You know, a lot of world government business. You know, like they was part of the Marine Corps. They was part of. They went to Impel Down, broke in and broke out, which made the Marines and the world government look bad. Then, you know, also in this lobby, you know, all that good stuff. And plus, you look at Luffy. He's also the son of Monkey D. Dragon. Come on.
like someone who has actively been a problem for them. That's the way I feel anyway, because I receive a lot of comments, or at least some comments basically saying that, you know, it can't be Robin that they're talking about because of the word nuisance. But based on the way that Saeed has translated this, overall the tone of it is a lot more neutral. I also find the official translation's word of inconvenience also a bit more neutral than nuisance. It's actually worth discussing this a little bit further. When I read this during the fan translation, I basically said, hey, I'm going to wait for the official translation to see if it sheds light on or offers clues as to who exactly they're talking about. Because it isn't outright stated. The only real clue that we have is the line before talking about Robin, but it isn't confirmed that they're talking about Robin.
I'm gonna let it continue to play, but I kind of want to. I'm kind of thinking. Do y'all do? Let me know in the chat. Do you think I should play the? Because I think this specific video is about that secret devil fruit. It's about the comments. I think it's about the comments. I don't know if it's about you know, the whole theory, but I don't know. Let's just keep reading. Let's keep watching. I was going to play a different video, where he actually talks about One Piece chapter 1037. Like, y'all let me know. Y'all want me to play him talking about chapter 1037, or y'all rather me keep playing this video? Because, you know, maybe he does get in a theory, but it's kind of looking like he's going to just talk about you know, comments. You know, he's going to talk about like the comments that people put in chapter in that video. So let me know. Do y'all want me to? Do you want me to go to a different video? Go to the chapter 1037 video. And yeah, we can do that. We can do that. So just let me know in the comments or in the chat, and I'm gonna change the video into the actual chapter 1037 video, and we could react to that one.
The official translation didn't help me out, so clearly this was meant to be some kind of mystery or inconclusive, and so we're basically left where we are, where I think, because they were talking about Robin, then they were talking about someone dying during the war, and we should erase this person, I think it's Robin, but it doesn't have to be. Most people who disagreed with me said, well, they already captured Robin, so why would they kill her? Well, the point is that if you capture Robin, then you have to have a whole event, basically a trial for her, an opportunity potentially to rescue her, or for enemies to try to capture her. So they're basically saying, hey, we don't need to hold a trial for this. We can just...
Yeah, I'm kind of looking. I
something's
think
being said.
I think it's mostly comments.
Souls in German
Yeah,
all the way. But overall, the big takeaway from this century, the one who initially ordered Zunisha to walk the world, can't be Robin that they're talking about because of the word nuisance.
So
Based
yes.
on the way that Saeed has translated this, overall the tone...
All right, so we're gonna go to a different video. I'm gonna have to change the comment the link in the description box. So yeah. So this is gonna be audible for it's gonna be
Hey YouTube,
audible.
Joe Boy here. So, One Piece chapter 1037 is out. If you guys haven't checked out that chapter yet, I suggest that you do so because I will be spoiling you. But now that you have, let's begin. Man guys, One Piece this week is so good. Wano and Onigashima dropping another gem. Add this to the growing list of 10 out of 10 chapters over the past year or 2 years. It's just been absolute insanity. But you all know what we want to talk about, right? This was a battle chapter. You guys know battle chapters, not my kind of chapter. Drunk Kaido was amazing. I loved the attention to detail in the artwork. I love the actual battle. It gives me the sense of some of the greatest fights that I've read in One Piece. Like, this feels like Lucci versus Luffy. It feels like an incredible fight. You guys read it. You know what happened. It was awesome. Let's talk about some of the discussion points at the end.
Yeah, let's get into it.
But you know, actually, I feel like teasing you guys. We'll start at the beginning and then work towards the insanity at the end. I didn't talk about this in chapter 1035, but now is a good time to talk about it. We have a new cover series. We have a new cover story following the Vinsmoke's escape from Whole Cake Island. This was something that, if you're reading the manga, was not obvious. So the cover story starting with the Vinsmoke's survival would have been a reveal, had it not been for the anime, which basically spoiled it or revealed it a long time ago. So obviously I'm really curious as to how the Vinsmoke are going to return to the story, because that's the greatest part of these cover series. You follow a group of characters or a character, they do something off the beaten path, off the main storyline, and then they come back later. And usually how they're supposed to return is not obvious. So it becomes a source of speculation, right? Where, you know, Buggy ends up being captured. How is he going to return in the story? Oh, we go to Impel Down, right? That was one of the best ones. But there's a lot of potential here for the Vinsmokes to be put in a situation where it's not clear how they may come back, but it foreshadows it. But I feel like the main story surrounding the Vinsmoke family for now is they have to cope with the fact that Sanji saved them, and that Sanji is not a failure. I'm not sure if they know that yet, so that will be curious, but I figure that there will be something along those lines related to that in the cover series. Other thing is that the Vinsmokes had all sorts of ties to the world government and the underground, and there's an insane amount of potential. You're talking about maybe a detail a lot of people have forgotten, but the Vinsmokes threw away their world government protection, their seat at the Reverie, in order to team up with Big Mom. Obviously that didn't go well for them, but the consequences of that are probably still in play. I imagine among the big news that Morgan's dropped at the conclusion of Whole Cake Island was the Vinsmoke's attempt to ally with the pirate queen, Big Mom. Likewise, because the Vinsmoke possess technology that is coveted by Big Mom, I assume that it would be coveted by others. You might see the world government.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. Like, the repercussions, like what will be the repercussions? Because I actually kind of forgot that aspect of the story about like the Vinsmokes kind of like skipping out on Revelry and pretty much abandoning their position in the world government, right? So like there has to be repercussions to that. Like they can't just go back and be, oh, we sorry for not being part of the Revelry. So at this point, they most likely will be like enemies to the world government, because they try to align themselves with pirates, right? So how they're going to enter the story, I don't know. I don't know when they're going to enter the story and how they're going to enter the story, but I do believe that we could potentially see them at this major war, right? Where I believe it's going to be like pirates versus the Marines and the world government, and probably you could throw in the Revolutionary Army as well, and you could throw like the SSG with the world government. Like that's probably going to be what really tips the scale in the world government and Marines' favor, is going to be the SSG project. And so I could kind of see maybe pirates having an ally with the Revolutionary Army to take on the Marines, and I could see Germa 66 possibly also allying with the pirates and the Revolutionary Alliance possibly. Because I think the SSG might actually be that big of a deal. They're already kind of being hyped up. We seen Kaido. We seen it come from Kaido's mouth himself talk about how the world government is pretty confident. So just because of that, him and Big Mom, just because of that confidence, it was almost like him and Big Mom had to pretty much team up, to ensure that the world government don't have that edge. So, but if we don't have powerful Yonko such as Kaido and Big Mom in the story at that point, that's going to be a huge loss on firepower that the pirates would have. And I don't know if Blackbeard is going to ally. I don't know if this is going to be after Luffy's confrontation with Blackbeard or before Luffy's confrontation with Blackbeard. But either way, I don't think Blackbeard's really going to involve himself with such a war, because it's like, to him it's going to be like, how can I benefit from it? He'll probably more so take advantage of the war and come in and try to, do something that's going to give him the edge, So yeah, I don't know if Blackbeard's going to be a part of this major war, but I could see like Luffy kind of leading this war, leading the charge, Cube said SSG must have something as good as artificial devil fruits. Possibly, but you see, the thing with that is, their artificial devil fruits are probably going to be better than the small devil fruits, right? Because from what we know, Caesar is kind of in charge of making small devil fruits, and they're flawed, right? Not all of them work. Some of them are failed devil fruits where they give you a bad, where you turn to like a pleasure, or somebody like the Okaboro town where they're just laughing all the time and they can't even help it because they ate these failed small devil fruits. But we look at Vegapunk and we see how he created that devil fruit that Momonosuke used, and that artificial devil fruit is almost is pretty much the same. It's pretty much just as good as Kaido's devil fruit. It's just Momonosuke's young and he doesn't fully have mastery over his abilities, because Kaido had a head start. Kaido had his devil fruit for so long, and he has his devil fruit mastered. So it's going to be hard for Momonosuke to match up with somebody such as Kaido, right? But from what we've seen of Momonosuke's devil fruit, it it grants him the same abilities as Kaido with no drawbacks that we see in other artificial devil fruit users, such as the smile fruit users, where they have like where we got one who they got a gorilla attached to their arm, or who's the one guy who got the lion on his stomach, like him. I think it's Hold'em, who got like a lion on his stomach, and or all these different wacky looking not smile. I don't want to say zone, but smile users. That they're kind of like zone users, but they don't have the upside that zone users. They're a little more deformed. They're like deformed zone users. You said smile aren't artificial. They are inferior since Vegapunk's artificial is better than Caesar's. Momonosuke's artificial devil fruit seems to lack the power boost, but I mean it's still artificial though, because it's still fake. It's not real. It's just an inferior. It's an inferior artificial devil fruit than what Vegapunk created. But that also just kind of displays the difference between Vegapunk and Caesar, right? I think that's kind of the point of Smile Devil Fruit, like Smile Devil Fruits. It's to show the gap of knowledge and mastery of science between Vegapunk and Caesar, because Caesar's still trying to, like, Caesar can't fully master these Smile Devil Fruit. Like, he can't master his artificial devil fruits in the same way that Vegapunk already mastered his, but they're still artificial. They're still artificial. They're just inferior artificial. But let's continue the video.
Attempt to basically do what Big Mom did.
This is a long video. It's about 40 minutes, so I'm gonna try not to stop too often and talk too long.
And that would be an interesting storyline by itself. Also, science connections, which has become really relevant in the story recently with Queen and Vegapunk. So I just want to acknowledge the cover story here and my excitement for the fact that we're getting one. It is mildly disappointing that the Vinsmokes escaped Whole Cake Island, even though we've known that for a while. I also had some small hope that they would appear in Wano, because I still think that there's more that the Vinsmoke can do in the story with Sanji, but basically we know that when a cover story begins, there is usually a pretty large gap before the characters in the cover story actually make their way back into the main story. So they...
Cube said, I feel that if SSG managed to do it, it might be even superior to Momonosuke's Devil Fruit. You said if SSG managed it? You mean if Vegapunk managed to do it with the SSG? That's what I'm kind of assuming you're getting at. Because the way you say it is almost like SSG is a person or something. But I think that's what you mean. I'm gonna just take it as you meaning like Vegapunk did it. He managed to create, and that's probably what it is. Maybe SSG is more of an advanced, like an army of advanced artificial devil fruit users. Maybe they're like devil fruit users that not just zone, maybe they're not just zone abilities. Maybe some of them are like Logia abilities. Like you might have a bunch of Kizaros, right? And a bunch of Kainus, a bunch of Aokijis running around, like an army of them, right? And maybe, what even be even scarier, right? Would it be even scarier is if they don't have no weakness. If they took the weakness to water out, like that would be scary. That would truly be scary. If SSG are pretty much artificial devil fruit users, even if they're all zone users, they don't have to be Logia and all that. But if they don't have weakness to like water and sea stone and stuff like that. But yeah, you said, yep. I mean, Vegapunk and his science team said to lead the science faction of the world government. So I say SSG when talking about Vegapunk in the team. Oh, okay. I mean, I guess if that's what SSG is, but I always more so took it as SSG being the actual project.
The likelihood of them showing up
soon, I get what you're saying.
Particularly since we're at the end of Wano anyway, not very high. But I suppose the main reason why I wanted the Vinsmoke to be captured by Big Mom is just because it would add something interesting to the Big Mom Pirates story here in Wano. But ultimately, the end of Whole Cake Island was pretty much a big nothing burger in terms of the drama, stakes, and consequences at the very conclusion of the arc, right? There was what will happen with Jinbei. He's got to go save his crew. Is he going to return? Are the Big Mom Pirates going to do something to him? The same thing was true with the Vinsmoke. Both of that turned out to be nothing because, I know people hate to hear it, but Big Mom Pirates are incompetent. That was kind of the point of the arc. We see this manifest at the conclusion of the arc where they couldn't capture either Jinbei or the Vinsmokes either. Big Mom is absurdly strong, but the Big Mom Pirates...
I kind of disagree with that. I think there might have been some consequences, like especially with the fishmen. Like maybe some of the fishmen died, you know. But if none of the fishmen died, then I'll concede my statement. But we don't know, you know. Maybe some of the fish, maybe there was a lot of casualties among the fishmen, and you know maybe Jinbei just not telling us anything. But just because Jinbei didn't lose, like a lot of people thought Jinbei was gonna lose an arm or something. Just because he didn't lose an arm don't mean he ain't lose nothing. He could have lost a lot of friends, you know.
Have issues, particularly when Katakuri isn't around to predict and fix things. It's also true that the Big Mom Pirates are probably better at laying traps and leading their victims to them like a spider web, rather than actually go out and chase people, which is what they were doing pretty much from the time that the castle fell until now, and it has not gone well for them. So now that it's confirmed that Jinbei has returned and the Vinsmokes escaped, really the only character left that we aren't certain about their fate from the end of Whole Cake Island, or close to the end of Whole Cake Island, is Peckham's. So I'm really curious about Peckham's. I doubt that they killed him, but something
what
like
happened to
Peckham's
Peckham's
would be interesting, and it could serve the same sort of role in the story that I hoped that the Vinsmoke might, or Jinbei might. But we'll see. We haven't seen Peckham's in a while, and we are left with a cliffhanger of him basically dying. But anyway, to the chapter at hand, we start off with a reminder that this is still the Fire Festival. I mean, guys, I'm just telling you, it's very, very easy as you read weekly to forget about certain things that Oda has set up, or if you haven't forgotten about it, think that he has forgotten. We're in a final battle, it seems like, or pretty close to that, with Luffy and Kaido, as well as Kid and Law versus Big Mom, and so it doesn't seem like there's that much room in the story left for the actual Fire Festival and all the various little things that Oda has set up and led us to believe might be important. Well, we sit here and Oda's like, hey, don't worry guys, the night is drawing to an end, and now we're going to send
some weird looking legs,
lanterns up into the sky and conclude the Fire Festival. You guys know that I think that things are going to happen. We're given messages on 2 lanterns. One person asks for food for the kids, and the other person asks for them to be able to see their mom again. I think that both of these things are going to happen. Oda says, time to write your wishes for our ancestors to see. Will they really make them come true? Of course. I like to believe that to be foreshadowing. These things will happen. This kid will see his dead mom again. Which when you...
Hey, Q, we talked about that. Remember? He talking about his dead mom, him seeing his dead mom. So we talked about the possibility of spirits coming to Wano, right? We talked about this in the whole Nightmare Luffy thing. Again, like, bro, I believe we gonna see some spirits, man. We gonna see some spirits, you know. But yeah, let's continue. I just kind of wanted to throw that in there. I think it's a lot of foreshadowing of possibly seeing spirits among the, just seeing spirits return. I think, because I feel as though we're going to see Odin, We're going to see Odin. He's going to talk to Momonosuke. He's going to talk to Hiyori. But yeah, let's continue.
When you really sit down and think about it, is heart-wrenching. My theory has been that the dead are going to come to life, or the spirits of the deceased are going to influence this arc in some way. It could be as general and as simple as the spirits of all the dead people that Kaido has killed over 20 years or 25 years in Wano are going to be rooting the strats on. It's the will of the people. that Kaido go down, and this is represented by all those that Kaido has killed. Pretty easy speculation. You may ask, well, how is it possible for the dead to come to life or the spirits of the deceased to actually speak to and be seen by people? Well, read the story and we'll find out. I actually hate debating these kinds of things. Like, people say, well, that's not possible. It's like, well, it's not possible yet. But there's like way too much foreshadowing about the idea of this for me. You know, I have to believe that it's possible, even if I don't know exactly how. The other thing that people criticize me about or want from a theory is like, why? Why would the dead, what purpose does it serve? And the first answer to this should always be, the reason is because it's cool or emotional, right? Like, why is this happening?
To answer that, I think it would be to give closure to a lot of characters, right? You know, I think, you know, you look at all, like, let's take a look at some. I've said this before, but take a look at some of the characters, right? You got you got like Luffy, right? You know, Luffy, Otama, and Yamato. You know, they all have this connection with Ace, right? We know Ace is dead. So we could potentially see Ace show up in Wano. You know, we can see Ace's soul in Wano. You know, he even said that he was going to be the one to defeat Kaido. So just imagine him helping Luffy, kind of like in that. You know, for some reason, the first thought I had was when, you know, in Dragon Ball Z in the Cell Saga, where Gohan was fighting Cell, and Gohan Ace helping Luffy. And then there's some closure with him and Otama and Yamato, because he told them he was going to come back and he never came back, right? So they kind of need that closure. And then you got Odin and Toki. You know, they might come back. Odin might be one of the ones to help Luffy defeat Kaido as well. And Odin and Toki, they get their revenge, or they get their revenge on Kaido, but they also get that closure with Momonosuke and Hiyori, and Odin also get that closure with whatever scabbards are left alive. You know, not only that, we'll see the dead scabbards reunite with the living scabbards. So if Okiko is dead, you know, Okiko will come back and talk to Izo. You know, who else? Yasui, right? Yasui, him and Otoko. You know, Zoro, right? Zoro. Maybe we could see Zoro talk to Ryuma or one of the other Shimotsuki clan members, and maybe they might tell Zoro about his lineage. You know, so Zoro, we could get like a good old, maybe learn more about Zoro's lineage through maybe some spirits, like the spirits of the Shimotsuki. I mean, that's if you believe that Zoro is indeed Shimotsuki. You know, I think there's a lot of evidence to show that he is Shimotsuki. I'm probably saying the name wrong, but and I'm trying to think of who else. You know, who else we, you know, in those three daimyo that made friends with Yamato. You know, like they might come back to say goodbye to Yamato as well. You know. And what if, now I know this is a stretch, but what if Kaido gets to meet up with Whitebeard and Odin and Roger? I mean, that one's kind of a stretch. I don't think we're gonna see Whitebeard and Roger in Wano, but you know. But yeah, that's all I can really think of now. There's other characters you could think of that you know have ties to Wano, that are, you know, some are dead and they have someone they left that's still alive, that, you know, they need that closure. You know, maybe Law and Corazon, I don't know, but I don't see Corazon. I don't see that one because, you know, Corazon don't really have a tie with, like, Corazon and Law don't really have that strong a tie to Wano. You know, like Ace has ties to Wano, so for him to come back to Wano, it wouldn't be that much of a stretch. You know, even though, you know, he didn't die in Wano or anything, but I don't think Ace being there would be a stretch because he's been to Wano. I mean, Whitebeard's been to Wano too, so I mean, I guess you could say Whitebeard. Yeah, but I don't know where Whitebeard's closure would get, because who would he be getting closure with from? Like Odin? Odin's already dead. You know, they probably already met each other in the afterlife. Cube says, I'd love to see Odin, or he said, I am down with that. I'm slowly being convinced of the spirits aspects coming sooner than I thought. I love to see Odin. I feel it will be a spirit with unfinished business in Wino. Yeah, man. And plus, like, and look, and here's another thing. Here's another reason why I think, like going back to Zoro and Ryuma, right? Why I think Ryuma may come back, right? It's like, I don't know if Zoro will keep Enma. I don't know if he should keep Enma. I don't know if let me rephrase. I don't know if he should keep Enma, because Enma it belongs to Hiyori, right? Enma is Hiyori's sword that was gifted to her from his. And yeah, it's a great power up for Zoro, so maybe Zoro will keep it. But Zoro has such a longer history with Shishui. It's Ryuma. Ryuma might be his ancestor. So if like maybe Wano finds out that Zoro is a descendant of Ryuma, like let's say Ryuma comes back and they talk and people see that, they might be like, hey, you're the one who should inherit the Shishui. Plus you saved Wano, so you should inherit it. And we'll keep Enma. Like Hiyori will keep Enma. Enma could stay in Wano and kind of be its new protector. Even though it might be kind of a downgrade for Zoro. So, that's the only kind of part I would say Zoro should keep Enma, because it's kind of his power up. And for him to lose that power up, But who's to say Zoro won't get like a new sword too as well? The Wado Ichimonju, right? The Wado Ichimonji, Shishui, and maybe if Hitetsu Tenguyama takes what do Zoro got? He got Katetsu 3, or he got one of the Katetsus. But there's like 2 Katetsus in Wano, I think. Like Zoro has one, and the other Katetsu is the one that Luffy was using, right? That Zoro wanted to mess with, but Luffy went and let him hold it. So what if Tenguyama Hitetsu takes both of these both Katetsu swords, turn them in, like re-wield them, do all that swordsmith stuff, combine them into a new sword, bro? That could be that could be a power up right there. Like that could be a power up that kind of replaces the Enma power up, and it will be a sword that's tailored specifically to Zoro. You know what I'm saying? So, but if Ryuma comes back, maybe he might. I don't know. Maybe somebody will see Ryuma. Maybe like Hitetsu Tenguyama might see Ryuma talking to Zoro, and then he'll be like, "Yeah, man, you're the one who should keep Shishui." But yeah, Cube said, I think it's Enma that will choose where he'll end with. I mean, that could be the case, but again, like I don't know. I think Enma, because Enma already has a strong connection with Hiyori. Like when Hiyori started playing her shamisen, Enma reacted. Enma was passed down from Odin to Hiyori, just like the other sword was passed down to Momonosuke. So I think if anything, Enma should possibly stay in Wano. But again, I wouldn't be mad if Zoro do keep Enma, because again, if he leaves Enma, it will kind of nerf Zoro to a degree. So if they're going to nerf Zoro by taking Enma away, I think they shouldn't nerf Zoro. Oda should replace Enma with something possibly equally effective. And I feel as though if you combine the two Katetu blades, that could be, it could be close to Enma possibly, But yeah, let's continue.
Because it's cool or emotional. You don't really need a better reason than that. But like, I guess if you want another answer, I think that it could add a lot of world building to the story. A lot of world building, probably more world building than we've gotten in decades. If the dead appeared, it would confirm the existence of an afterlife. That's kind of how I envision it. Brooke often talks about, the chill of hell, right? As if it's an actual place that he visited when he died. And I don't think it's coincidence that earlier in this battle in Onigashima, Luffy straight up said, right, this is hell. This is the thing that I think is going to happen. On several occasions, Oda has introduced characters that are dead to people in the hopes that, oh look, our loved ones are returned, but they were all fake outs. It's all set up of, oh, these characters actually do appear. And it's not a fake out. And I'm just telling you guys, if it goes down the way that I hope that it goes down, and it isn't just all the people that Kaido killed, but characters, deceased family and friends of Straw Hats, characters that we are fully invested in, oh my god, this would become one of the greatest moments in One Piece ever. Maybe
telling you, he gonna bring up Ace.
But I don't want to linger on this too much because if it happens or not,
bruh. You know what I just thought of? What would be crazy? What would be crazy if it happened? What if we see the Going Merry, the spirit of the Going Merry? that'd be wild right there. Oh man, I just had to throw that out. That'd be wild to see Going Merry. Like what Going Merry is like she get mad that we see that they got the Sunny or something, That'd be wild.
We will find out soon because the Fire Festival is coming to its conclusion. The lanterns are going up.
Oh yeah, another person I want to add. I'm sorry I keep stopping. Another person I want to add. Pedro coming back to Wano, but not coming back alive. I mean, as a spirit. We'll see Pedro, and maybe that'll give some closure to Carrot, because we see Carrot witness Pedro's death firsthand. So if Pedro is there, kind of the motivate Carrot, maybe say, hey, go see the world. That might be what would make that will probably be what would make Carrot actually join the Straw Hats. If like Pedro comes back and give his blessing for so for people who want to see Carrot join the Straw Hats, I could see maybe Pedro coming back and telling Carrot to like go explore the world, and then maybe he'll see Inuyasha and Nekomamushi, and they could say goodbye to them, and all the other minks. So, but yeah, I just wanted to add Pedro. I forgot about Pedro. And Peckham's, if Peckham's is indeed dead.
Up into the sky. They told us earlier that the bonfire that they created in the Flower Capital, its flames reach up to the heavens so that they can communicate with their ancestors. Well, Onigashima is literally on fire. It is a bonfire of massive proportions, so maybe that's some of the logic behind why something totally unprecedented will happen. But anyway, guys, we all know what we want to talk about. We want to talk about the end of the chapter, and yes, I do have a theory. Whether or not you like this theory or agree with it, we will find out. But we pan to the Holy Land Mary Schwa on the Red Line and the Gorosei, and they begin by saying this: it's as if this year's reverie was cursed. We should put what happened aside for now. I think it's very easy to overlook this line, but it's clear that they're talking about something.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that.
The conversation shifts to other matters.
I definitely noticed that part.
And Kaido, and then the news about the shadow. And
yeah, that whole statement with the reverie, I definitely picked up on that, and I was like, why was it relevant for them to highlight that point? Especially if they wasn't really going to expand on the reverie. Why was it relevant for Oda to show them talking about, like, just kind of end it off right there, kind of say, oh yeah, that the reverie was a curse. Like, there had to be a reason, so I'm like even more now, and I'm more intrigued on what happened with the reverie, and I'm already kind of curious to why, like, you know, how we kind of left Wano at the end of this chapter without it being like the end of an act. But even though it was like a temporary leave and we didn't really leave Wano, we just kind of cut out of Wano and came back. But yeah,
And the devil fruit at the end. It's easy to sort of lump this in as maybe a reason why they're talking about the reverie, but I don't think so. This is before all of that, which suggests to me that something else happened. It's as if this year's reverie was cursed, is some kind of foreshadowing or an indication that other world events have occurred that we are not yet aware of. Some speculations off the top of my head is we know that something happened to Sabo. That is still unclear. I doubt that Sabo has been rescued or his situation is better all of a sudden, but the Revolutionary Army could be on the move. They could be doing something. We've also had enough time for there to be some kind of fallout for the Revolutionary Army's declaration of war against the government. There could be something related to that has occurred since then that is an additional problem. It's also probably fitting to mention Vivi and the Kingdom of Alabasta. We're left with some death flags, some hints about bad things that might happen to them, but what would be the consequences of taking action against them or whatever might have occurred?
I don't think it's Vivi. I think it might be maybe Cobra. You know, like her father. Like something happened to him. I don't think Vivi, like, at least not like, I don't think she's dead, but you know, I think maybe it was like Cobra that died, if anything.
This could be an indication of something. I also wouldn't forget that the government tried to manipulate Big News Morgans, and the conclusion of that story was someone attempting to assassinate him, and he escaped. But he is still the leader of the World Economic Times, so it could be that the papers have turned against the government. Maybe Morgans has been basically mouthing off at this point in time. Another character who is of interest to me is Blackbeard. We got an update early on in Wano and in the middle that Blackbeard was going to do something, so is it related to the Reverie? I doubt it, but we don't know, so it's just worthy of throwing out there. But I would say the simplest answer here, probably the most likely answer as to what they're talking about, in my opinion, is we know that the action that the world government has been taking since the Reverie concluded, the big reveal, the big conclusion that the Reverie decided upon is the abolition of the Shichibukai system. Well, that required the Marines to go out and capture all the Shichibukai, which is one reason why the Marines are stretched thin at the moment. So, do you think that all of these fights went in the world government and the Marines' favor? I personally don't think so. I personally don't think that anyone is capturing Mihawk. So, again, enough time has passed here for the world government to have lost some battles against Shichibukai, failed to capture them, not all of them, like Buggy, you're in danger, bro, but you know, some of them could have gone poorly, and that's what the Gorosei are commenting on. Thus, the reason why the Reverie was cursed, something bad happened, but let's move on. But anyway, I think that Oda kind of snuck that in there very stealthily. I think that it's very easy to overlook this line, but I do not think that it is lacking in importance. Obviously, with all of these L's that the world government is taking, they're probably going to take more. The reason for this is because we're setting up the Great Cleansing. Basically, we're pushing the world government, Imu, the Gorosei into a corner, and they're going to be tempted to use absolute justice, brute force, in order to suppress all dissidents and opposition to government rule. The Revolutionary Army's plan has...
Yeah, that's actually a good point, because again, I think the story's going to come to a point where we're going to have some Marines that are going to be like, look, like there's going to be like Marines that's going to rebel against the world government in the Marines, because by the Marines is pretty much an extension of the world government. So there's going to be some Marines that are going to rebel, and then and I think the Marines that rebel are probably going to work with Sword, right? And then there's going to be some Marines that are going to stay loyal, you know? And, you know, I think, and it would make sense if like what he said about like the world government almost cracking down on society, being harsher, being that absolute justice and everything. It would make sense that some Marines would take the stance like, hey, this is wrong. Like, I'm not with what's going on. People like Smoker, you know, who seen how the world government system could actually almost aid of like bad people to do bad things. Kobe, who's friends with a pirate, so he know that not all pirates are bad, just like not all Marines are good, right? Uh, Garp, even though Garp is retired, but Garp, I'm sure is already aware of these things. Uh, Akiji, who left the Marines because he didn't want to be a part of it after Akainu took over. Like, the only reason why he really challenged Akainu was because he didn't want Akainu to be the admiral. Like, he was almost like from what I got, Akiji didn't want to be admiral, like fleet admiral, but he would have rather been fleet admiral than to allow Akainu to be fleet admiral. So, but when he lost, like I think that's what they explained pretty much. So when they lost,
has been to turn.
Damn accident. So when he lost, he left. Because I guess he didn't see any good of Akainu being in charge. Which makes sense. Akainu being the absolute justice guy. So yeah, so I could see some Marines kind of branching off, and I think the SSG will kind of counter maybe some of the losses they take. So, again, whatever the SSG is, you compile that with the Pacifista program. The world government is already in a good position. So when they kind of maybe lose some of their followers, it will probably be a little more even. When some of the Marines rebel, when Sword and kind of branches off and do their own thing, and it would make sense if like the world government takes the stance like, look, we got to be harsh on people to maintain power. So yeah, but let's continue. Or hold on, let me read. Cube said O'Hara has an interesting theory about the rivalry. I'll post it on Discord. Alrighty. But yeah, let's continue. This might be this gonna be a pretty long stream, guys. So y'all gonna have to buckle in. But cause I'm gonna stop whenever something comes up to stop too.
Nations and governments, people against the government. They officially declared war. They failed with Morgans. And now we're going to reach a point in time where a lot of people, I think, are going to be questioning world government authority, and they are not going to like that. Failing to capture the Shichibukai, the pirates that were officially sanctioned by them before, is, that's not going to read well. But let's move on. Wano is the more pressing issue. There was no way of knowing that the battle would go this far. Another Gorosei says, Nico Robin must have been apprehended by now, it's time to act. Another one says, it wouldn't be out of place for someone to die unexpectedly. During a war that involves Kaido and Big Mom, this is our chance to erase that nuisance. In this translation, it might be translated better and more clearly in the official. We will wait for that, obviously. But it's not clear who it is that they're referring to that, the someone who will die unexpectedly, and this might be our chance to erase that nuisance. But because the line directly before this was talking about Nico Robin, I assume that they're talking about killing Nico Robin. I'll take things that are not going to happen for 200, Alex. There's obviously Oda's focusing a lot of the story's energy about Robin protecting her, all the groups that want her for various reasons. And so this is probably the strongest reason why I would say that it is incredibly likely that the world government does not capture Robin, because they've now made it clear that they're not looking to hold a trial for her or to have a spectacle for her death. They are going to capture her and then they're going to kill her and just blame it on the war. Not going to happen. I've said this before and I'm going to say this again. We don't know exactly when this will become truly relevant to the story. The payoff for this will be truly relevant. But I think that all of this plot surrounding Nico Robin, the setup here, the drama, the stakes surrounding her, is all for Blackbeard. That's what I think that it's for. Big Mom and Kaido obviously need a way of reading the poneglyphs.
Thank you, Joy Boy. Thank you, Joy Boy, because I've been saying for the longest. Like, I'm like, look, I've said since, well, I can't remember how long I've been saying this, but I'm like, look, I'm surprised it took Oda this long to really kind of stress the importance of Robin You know, especially after entering the new world, because she's the only person alive that we know of. You know, now it was implied by Big Mom that when Puddin awakens her third eye, that she could potentially read the poneglyphs. Like that's kind of what Big Mom is banking on, that Puddin will be able to decipher the poneglyphs through awakening her big eye, or her not big eye, her third eye. But it's like you got all these people wanting to be Pirate King, right? But nobody is going after Robin. And I figured, like, I I I've said before, I can't remember when I said it, but I said I do believe I would love to see Blackbeard actually capture Robin and kind of get a like an encounter with them two, where they kind of talk, you know, like a conversation with those two. But I think Blackbeard might capture Robin, and you know, like maybe this will be like after they get the fourth poneglyph. You know, Blackbeard might come along, snatch Robin, and then, you know, maybe even find Laugh Tale before. Uh, I mean, like Luffy and them, they'll probably have everything they need to find Laugh Tale as well. But Blackbeard will have to get Robin and almost somehow get the information out of Robin. Now, how he gets the information out of Robin, I don't know, because you know Robin may not want to speak. She might not want to speak on her own. Like she might really hold out. So there might be a way for them to extract the information, like through some type of devil fruit. I don't know. You know, maybe that could be one of Blackbeard's moves, is get like a specific devil fruit that could read minds, or that can force people to, you know, do what you say or something. And then that's how they get to Laugh Tale. And after that, Robin, you know, Luffy not only has to get the Laugh Tale, you know, like he's probably less worried about finding the One Piece, and he'll be more about retrieving Robin. But at the same time, that's when we'll get that meeting at Laugh Tale with Luffy and Blackbeard possibly. You know, because I do believe Blackbeard is going to be close to finding with a One Piece. I think if anything, he might actually find the One Piece before Luffy. You know, and then Luffy has to beat Blackbeard in order to almost obtain the One Piece and the status of Pirate King. So, you know, that's kind of, you know, cause you know, it just reminds me so much of like when you watch a movie, right? When you watch a movie and the bad guy finds, like, let's say, you know, there's the protagonist, they're trying to look for some treasure or something, but the bad guy, like, even if they find the treasure first, the bad guy comes in and almost swoops it. You know, like maybe they have a hostage. Like, look, you know, I'll kill this person, and Robin to be that hostage. So, you know, I could see Blackbeard actually achieving getting the One Piece before Luffy. You know, or coming in and swiping it or something. I don't know. But yeah, let's continue.
So it makes sense for them to target Robin, and Oda makes a big deal about that, but they're going to fail. The world government is going to fail. The only character that I could see succeeding
Blackbeard.
is Blackbeard. And while I wouldn't die on this hill, I do think that is a very interesting theory that is shared by a lot of people, that Blackbeard may find Laugh Tale before the strides, or they might find it at the same time. And so in order to find Laugh Tale, Blackbeard would need some way of interpreting the poneglyphs. So, you know, lacking any concrete reason as to how he could, right, he should also be planning on capturing Robin too. So until Blackbeard appears, I think that we can rest easy. But then we pan to the seas around Wano, and we see world government ships, not marine ships, but world government ships waiting outside of Wano. I think that it is noteworthy that they're not marine ships, they are world government ships, just in the fact that it suggests that there's some amount of subversion and deception taking place with the world government. Basically, you know, it suggests that they don't want the Marines here. Now, we obviously have the excuse that the Marines are stretched thin at the moment. This is something that has already been alluded to. They're, you know, in battles with Shichibukai. There's things regarding the Reverie that they need handled, so they're undermanned. But at the same time, another thing that maybe you've forgotten about, but I doubt that Oda has, is there was a conversation between CP0 and Orochi at the beginning of this arc, where they made a deal. Cypher Pole and the world government made a deal with Orochi and the pirate Kaido, and he demanded ships. There's no way that they want any Marine to know about this deal, and now we have a group of ships that are conveniently here waiting outside of Wano. I just wonder if that's the reason. But it also heightens the importance of characters like X-Drake being present here, because, you know, this is another one of those theories that I've had for a long time, but the Marines are not going to be all in favor of the world government. We've talked about this with the people of the world already, like all the bad press and the Revolutionary Army is trying to turn the world against the government. I think that you will see this internally with the Marines as well. And I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, this has been something that a lot of people shrug off, but every time we see Akainu converse with the Gorosei, they are fighting. Akainu does not like the Gorosei, and it totally makes sense to me for Akainu to want the Marines to have ultimate power and rule and not be undermined by Celestial Dragon's world government or Cypher.
Q, what did I say, bro? What did I say? Like, when I talk about Akainu potentially being part of Sword, and I'm always, you know, I always revert to like Akainu not necessarily always getting along with the Gorosei and the world government. You know, now again, I'm not saying I'm not dying on that hill that Akainu is indeed Sword, but I feel as though there is. I'm just saying, like, my point is there are breadcrumbs to kind of show that Akainu may not necessarily be fully on board or on the side of the world government. Like that's all. That's, you know, that's my point. You know, the sword tattoo is just kind of like a little more sprinkling to show that he could potentially be Sword, but the fact that he don't really get along with the Gorosei, and you know they're always at odds and they're always fighting. It's like, what if he kind of sees Sword as a way to kind of undermine the world government, just like the world government always undermine him? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying, man, there's evidence to show that there's evidence to support that Akainu could kind of be acting against the world government in some type of way. Maybe he's not Sword, but in some type of way I can see Akainu working against the world government. So I mean, just something to think about, man. Just something to think about. I get, you know, there's a lot of stuff that kind of, you know, maybe contradict that, like, you know, him, you know, killing Ace, and I would never think him and Luffy would ever actually work together. You know, him and, you know, Kobe. Me personally, I think Akainu probably honestly forgot about Kobe. He probably forgot about that thing with Kobe. You know, I don't think he really holds. I don't think his grudge against Kobe is that deep, because it was in the moment type of thing, you know. And if he really wanted to do something about Kobe, he's the admiral now. Like, he's the fleet admiral. If he really wanted to do something about Kobe, he would have done something about Kobe at this point. Being the fleet admiral, nobody could really tell him that he couldn't do nothing. He would have killed Kobe. He would have kicked Kobe out of the Marines. He would have done something to Kobe, like some type of punishment, you know. So again, I don't think that beef with Kobe is that meaningful that a lot of people may think. So again, you know, he's obviously allowing Kobe to stay in the Marines and be a vice. What is Kobe? He's like a vice admiral or something. A vice captain, not vice captain. Like, he's like a vice admiral, I think. So, you know, there's that, you know.
Cypher Pole ever. So basically, I could see Akainu turning the Marines as an entire organization, basically breaking the Marines off from the world government and becoming an independent force. And before Akainu is the leader of Sword. Just for a moment, picture Akainu's face when he discovers that he's been fighting against pirates that have been funded and are sometimes actual government agents. Won't be a fan, that's my guess. But having explained this, you could see then why it might be important for the world government to prevent Marines from knowing about their shady underworld deals with pirates and unaffiliated world government nations. But I'm just saying, this is very important to, like, the stakes for the government of what's taking place. The status quo and the balance of powers is shifting. And I think at the conclusion of this arc, you're going to see some pretty crazy stuff. But the government agent on the ship sees a giant shadow and he reports it. And then we pan back to the Gorosei in Mary Joie. That's impossible. That fruit is nothing but a legend now, even for us. It hasn't awakened for centuries. Another Gorosei says, how else do you explain the world government giving a specific devil fruit a unique name? They were hiding that fruit's true name from the annals of history? Boom, Zunisha. Absolute freaking shivers, man. This moment was as cool as I always thought it was going to be. There is so much to say here, but first off, I want to start off, Zunisha appearing in Wano was a common theory, one that I believed in as well. My logic was always...
Yeah, that was definitely a common theory. I always believed it too, and it's not like I came up with the idea. I just, if the Minx was going to be there, I'm pretty sure they had to ride, maybe they didn't ride Zunisha there, but I believe that Zunisha, they already had a strong connection with Wano already. So, I kind of seen it as it had to be there. And they wanted to open up the borders to Wano. How do you open up the borders? You need something big and powerful enough to do something of that magnitude. So, Zunisha, that could be Zunisha. Just like Zunisha could potentially be Pluton. Potentially. I don't know. If Zunisha has a devil fruit, this mysterious devil fruit that we don't really know much about, what makes that devil fruit so special with Zunisha? Was Zunisha always that big, or did the devil fruit make Zunisha that big? Or is Zunisha that big because it's Pluton? Again, I don't know, because it's been established early in the series that Pluton is a ship, like an actual inanimate ship. So, maybe that devil fruit and Zunisha has nothing to do with Pluton. I'd like the theory, though. I do like the theory.
That, my belief is that Zunisha will die. That's something that I've said for a very long time. And so at the conclusion of Zou, we saw that Momonosuke stayed behind with Inuarashi in order to have a conversation with Zunisha and find out more information about his powers. So you knew that his powers after Zou were really, really important. And it always intuitively made sense to me that Momonosuke would use his abilities again in the arc that is most relevant to him, Wano. So he had some ability to communicate with and command the giant elephant Zou. So to use those powers again, without any new information, would require Zunisha to be here. And now she is. As a side note, people may be asking, how did Zunisha arrive? When did Zunisha arrive? Well, we got foreshadowing from the very beginning of the fight in Onigashima that Zunisha was already here, because Marco arrived with Nekomamushi and saw a shadow. That shadow is now confirmed to be Zunisha, so Zunisha has been here for a while. I think the fun theory here that probably a lot of people will be speculating is that Momonosuke called Zunisha. There's obviously been a lot of things going on. There's a lot of speculation that Momonosuke's abilities may be similar to Poseidon and Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi called the Sea Kings. Maybe Momonosuke called Zunisha. While this is a fun theory and it's cool, it's not what I believe in. I think
don't
the
believe
answer
in that.
here, this may be not that hype, but I think that is true, is Momonosuke stayed behind with Inuarashi to ask questions about Zou and Zunisha. How did they get to Wano? I think that they rode Zunisha all the way to Wano, and Zunisha has been here the entire time. So Zunisha has been here since before the arc began. So really, the larger question that I have is, how didn't Kaido notice that Zunisha was here? And I think the answer to that is kind of in the nature of Zou itself. We know that there is a kind of steam or a mist that shrouds Zunisha always. We also learned at the very beginning of Zou that the currents actually propel ships away from Zunisha, and that the way to find Zunisha is to have a Viver card and know where you're going, because the mist is no joke. This is something that I think, as a reader of the story, it isn't as intuitive as it might be to some of the characters in the story, because we obviously know about Zou, and many events have occurred regarding it over the last 300 chapters, 200 chapters, so it's easy to build this mindset that, oh, Zou is this really common thing that a lot of people know about, and it's easy to find, but I don't think that it is. The Straw Hats were only able to find Zou because of Law and Beppo. Beppo, being a mink, having a way to find his way back home. Jack only found Zou because of Kanjuro. Kanjuro betrayed the samurai and the Mings, also because they had a Viver card in order to find it. This is what Inuarashi speculates to Wanda in chapter 824, right after Zou. He suspects that the enemy had a Viver card, probably because that is the only way that Zou can typically be found. So while it might seem counterintuitive that Zou is just commonly found and just people know about it being in Wano and what it is, I don't think so. And I think that's sort of reiterated by the reaction of the Gorosei to Zunisha's appearance here in Wano. Something about Zunisha is special. It's a legend that they didn't even believe in, right? So you have to conclude that Zou is not a thing commonly found. And it may also help that the New World is controlled by Yonko crews, by pirates. That yes, there are Marines and government agents that travel here, but they don't own the place. So there's room for Zou to travel around and not encounter them. So Zunisha is waiting just a little bit outside of Wano with the mist, and with how the currents around it push ships away, it stayed without Kaido discovering it. But anyway, to go back to what I was talking about, I think that Zunisha will die. And the main reason that I think that she will die is because there's a common theme in One Piece that groups should not be isolated and separated. Everyone should live together, and that's usually how the story unfolds. Like Skypiea, the Skypieans and the Shandians were separated at odds. They had a common enemy that they fought against. They partied. One person's home was destroyed. Now they live together. You see this with the Tantata. They were a legend in Greenbit. They hid from the people, fought against Doflamingo. Now they're living with the people of Dressrosa. Integration. This hasn't happened yet, but it is highly foreshadowed that the fishmen want to live up on the surface, not hidden away underneath the ocean. And so, most likely, by the end of the story, their home will be destroyed because someone will destroy Fishman Island, and then they will live with humans. The Minks currently live on top of Zunisha, which is their way of being separated from the world, so it is likely that their home will be destroyed. Zunisha will die, and they'll be forced to, and also want to live with humans. I thought that this would occur in Wano. This could technically occur at the very end of the story, but I personally think it's going to occur in Wano.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe at the end of Wano, maybe because I think Zunisha's purpose in being in Wano is to bring down the borders of Wano, right? Because how else do you destroy, how else do you destroy the borders like that? You need something big, or you need something powerful and explosive. So I could see Zunisha's purpose being to, destroy the borders. Now I don't but the weird thing about how Wano is, can you really destroy the borders of Wano? Because what are the borders of Wano? It's more like a natural way. Like, you gotta go up these waterfalls. You like Wano is isolated because it's sitting on top of a mountain, in the valley of almost like a volcano almost, right? So even if you knock down these borders, it's still gonna be hard to access, because it's so high up, right? That there's a lift that you could lift, but unless you just destroy the whole mountain and somehow manage to keep the actual country intact after the destruction of the mountain or the volcano or whatever it is, unless you do that and bring it down to sea level to where it's now it's almost like any other country, even if you knock down the borders, it's still going to be hard to not access. It's still going to be a hard country to access regardless. Cube said, I feel that Zunisha's story will be sadder than the Going Merry if he indeed dies at the end of Wano. You know how Oda is. Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be sadder than the Going Merry, because the thing about the Going Merry, the thing about the Going Merry is the Going Merry was almost like a crewmate, right? It was almost like part of the Straw Hats. So when we lost the Going Merry, we lost like a crewmate. Zunisha it might be sad. I'll give you that. It'd probably be one of the saddest stories in the series. Could be, but it's like we don't have that connection with Zunisha that we do with Going Merry. You know, Going Merry, like we actually traveled with Going Merry. We, like we seen the crew form a bond with that ship. We formed a bond with that ship as watchers and fans. You know, so when we lost it, it was like losing one of the crew. Where Going Merry would just have a sad backstory, but we're not as connected with Zunisha as we are with the Going Merry. Not, but that's not to say just because we're not connected, it couldn't be sad. Because like Senior Pink, right? Senior Pink probably, a lot of people love Senior Pink's backstory, and I've seen people say it's sadder than Robins and Choppers. I don't know if I agree with that personally, but some people I've seen memes and people say stuff like that, and Senior Pink was an enemy. He was an enemy, so we definitely had no connection with him. So I mean, it is possible though. It is possible. It could be sadder than Going Merry, but I think what made Going Merry so sad was that we were so connected with Going Merry. It wasn't just a sad backstory. It was like it was like a crewmate dying. It wasn't just a sad backstory. It was a crewmate actually dying. Let's continue.
Because I think that there's a connection between the Minks and the people of Wano. And even as you go back into the Oden flashbacks and Inuarashi Nekomamushi and how they were treated by the people of Wano, I think that there's little tidbits there that you can latch onto that basically show where the people of Wano will grow. You have a battle against Kaido, and then by the conclusion of this, the Minks won't be weird monsters or whatever. They're going to be people. And so I think that it's fitting that they integrate with Wano. And so for them to abandon their home at this point in the story, I think that Zunisha cannot be a viable home any longer. And obviously Zunisha is very old to begin with. When Jack attacked it, you can tell that it doesn't have much durability. It's going to play probably some role in what happens here, so this could be the end of the line for Zoe. But I guess this isn't really what we wanted to talk about. The end is obviously intended to be vague and confusing.
If that is the case, if Zunisha does die at the end of Wano, I don't think it would be. If that's the case, then it wouldn't be Pluton, because I believe Pluton has to be around Pluton is more of endgame type things. I think the main goal of the series is to unite the seas, right? Unite all the seas, or the blues, the East Blue, the West Blue, the North Blue. You do that by getting rid of the Red Line and the Grand Line and the Reverse Mountain. You do that, and I think Pluton is going to be part of that destruction just as well. Like Poseidon is going to be. I don't know. We know Poseidon controls the Sea Kings. I don't know how the Sea Kings are going to be able to, I could see the Sea Kings. Their main goal is moving the Minks, or not the Minks, the Fishmen, out of Fishman Island, because we know that Madame Shirley predicted that Luffy was going to destroy Fishman Island. Now, I don't think Luffy's going to directly destroy Fishman Island, but he's going to directly destroy the Red Line, which is right above Fishman Island. Which, when he destroys the Red Line, that's pretty much going to destroy Fishman Island, right? So, in Poseidon's purpose is to save all the fishmen. I think there might be more to Poseidon's purpose as well, other than saving Fishman Island or migrating all the citizens of Fishman Island. But, and I could see Uranus, whatever Uranus is, if it is indeed a weather control device, I could see, because after you destroy the Red Line, I could see the weather being unstable. It changes it somehow changes the weather, right? Because you got this big unnatural thing, and you look at the Grand Line and the Red Line. it has so many unnatural weather phenomenons going in. Like every island has different weather. You know, you might come across like a lightning storm, or you might come across it raining fire or something. I mean, that's not, you know, that we didn't see anything like that. But you know, when we first got introduced to the Grand Line, like almost anything was possible when it came to the weather. So, you know, but from one of the theories I read, you know, the theory is that the reason why the Grand Line is like that because of the existence of the Red Line, right? Because the Red Line being unnatural, it creates unnatural weather phenomenon. So when you destroy this Red Line, it's probably going to mess up the weather for a while, you know, because it's going to take the weather is going to have to come to an equilibrium to get, you know, it's going to go through a change in order to be stable. So if you have something like Uranus that could possibly control the weather, maybe it will stabilize the weather, you know, so people aren't dying from catastrophes throughout the world, you know. But yeah, let me continue.
Confusing, and I don't think that it's helped by the translation. But the simplest conclusion that it is trying to lead you to is that Zunisha is a devil fruit, or that a devil fruit relates to Zunisha, and it has awakened now for the first time in centuries. And it's a devil fruit that the world government knows about and hid its true name, giving it another name. I could spend a lot of time here talking about all the various theories that I'm seeing after this chapter has dropped, but that would take a lot of time, so instead I'm just going to give you my theory. We see the shadow, and then we pan to the Gorosei, but I think that there is a little bit of a time skip from the time that the shadow is seen and reported to the time in which it is being discussed by the Gorosei. Basically, I think that we're coming back to this conversation having skipped some crucial lines which would make this make sense. And I think the line that Oda purposely excluded said something to the effect of, "The ancient weapon Pluton, or the ancient weapon Uranus, may call upon Zunisha for aid in the battle." Imagine them saying that. Just follow me for a moment. Then the actual dialogue that we get. That's impossible. That fruit is nothing but a legend now, even for us. It hasn't awakened for centuries. I'm speculating that the devil fruit that they're talking about, its other name, is the name of an ancient weapon. It's impossible for an ancient weapon to call upon the use of Zunisha because it hasn't awakened for centuries. Are you guys following me? An ancient weapon is actually a devil fruit which has not awakened, devil fruit awakening, for centuries. You have to see where I'm going with this, right? And then another...
I mean, yeah, I could see that too, though. Like, maybe it's not like Cube. Maybe it's not Pluton. You know, maybe Pluton is really a ship. You know, like a normal ship. But it could be Uranus. Now, that at the same time, the reason why I kind of didn't want to like go on that path, because then it will kind of really destroy my theory on Uranus being something that controls the weather. But it could be Uranus. You know, maybe it's not Pluton. Maybe it's Uranus.
Other Gorosei argues for this possibility. Then why did the world government go to the trouble of giving that devil fruit another name? To erase that fruit's name from history, right? Basically, the argument being made is that they gave this fruit another name because there's the potential that it may awaken again. That's where this conversation begins. It's a debate. The first person says, impossible. And this guy's saying, no, it's not impossible. I think the thing that they're talking about is that the devil fruit, which goes by the name of an ancient weapon, Uranus or Pluton, may awaken. And it relates in some way to Zunisha, may in fact call upon Zunisha to aid them. I'm obviously talking about Momonosuke. And through Momonosuke, I'm also talking about Kaido. I think the devil fruit that they're talking about is Kaido's devil fruit. I think that it goes by another name, the ancient weapon Uranus. And it's given this name when it awakens. I may be biased, guys, because I've said this from the literal...
I mean, when you think about it, Kaido, like, I think they, from what I heard, from what I've heard, I'm not that well versed in Japanese mythology. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but dragons, like Eastern dragons, the kind of dragon that Kaido is, they do have a level of weather control, right? And I mean, maybe Kaido's, like Uranus's objective isn't to control the weather. Maybe it's not, but maybe Uranus does control Zunisha, right? Maybe he who kind of like Poseidon controls sea kings. Poseidon controls these massive sea kings. So it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to say Uranus controls something as big as Zoe. Maybe Zoe like Zunisha and Zunisha species, maybe, so, something that has that sort of power, like we've seen something similar to Momonosuke's ability to communicate and command a large animal, right? We seen that in Poseidon, so it wouldn't be that much of a stretch to say Momonosuke or Kaido's devil fruit, because Momonosuke pretty much got an artificial version of Kaido's devil fruit that was pretty much extracted from Kaido's DNA, right? So this is an actual replica of Kaido's devil fruit. So pretty much you could say that Vegapunk succeeded in cloning Kaido's devil fruit. So if Momonosuke controls Zoe through his devil fruit, then it would be in the sense that Kaido could do the same thing. Now, I'm kind of the belief that whatever Momonosuke is doing is kind of a Kosuke type thing, because we know that somebody commanded Zoe to walk the earth, like somebody in Wano, like I think somebody from the Kosuke clan commanded Zoe to walk, the earth, until a certain point. So I'm kind of the belief that whatever Momonosuke's ability to communicate and control Zoe is something that is a Kosuke heritage, like of the Kosuke lineage. But at the same time, maybe there was a Kosuke member that had Kaido's devil fruit. So maybe they were able to control Zoe through that devil fruit too. So, but I don't know. It's a tough call.
Chapter that Momonosuke could hear Zunisha's voice and could command it. But I believe that Momonosuke's power that he demonstrates, his ability to command Zoe, that power is the power of an ancient weapon. He can command the giant elephant. Just imagine setting that elephant onto an island, right? You could destroy an island. If it isn't an ancient weapon, at the very least, it is of a power level that would be similar, without question. Particularly if this power can control more than just Zunisha, as in there's other creatures and or things that the power can command. But you guys know, we've talked a lot about this. Land kings, right? Basically, Momonosuke's power is very similar to Shirahoshi's. Shirahoshi is the king of the Sea Kings, and for hundreds of years they await her, and they act at her behest, her beck and call. She is their ruler. And Momonosuke basically has that same sort of ability over Zunisha. And if there's other creatures that Momonosuke can control, then without question, it's like, this is another version of Poseidon's power. Look, sometime in the distant past, Zunisha was given a command that she could not break, was not even able to defend herself or the people who resided on her back. Being given this command in the distant past, this command was broken by Momonosuke. It suggests, inherently, that somebody in the distant past had the very same power as Momonosuke. The person who gave Zunisha that unbreakable command, Momonosuke broke it. They have the same power as someone in the past. If you imagine Zunisha young and strong, that is a terrifying power. And it almost makes sense that whoever had the ability to set Zunisha on the world might want to restrain her and prevent her from destroying the world. Especially as Zunisha herself supposedly did something bad in the distant past which warranted this restriction, which is not coincidentally a fear that the world government has about the use of the ancient weapons. Again, particularly if it isn't just Zunisha, but there's other creatures like Zunisha, which I think that they are. I haven't even mentioned the Florian Triangle. The shadow, right, that we see in this chapter reminds you of the shadows of the Florian Triangle, which also makes you think that, maybe those are other Zunisha-like creatures. But I suppose the point is that when you're talking about Zunisha, you have to talk about whatever this power is that is able to command her. A long time ago, we weren't exactly sure, the source of this ability that Momonosuke possessed. Maybe it was something that he was born with, or maybe it was a power given to him by eating Vegapunk's failed, quote-unquote, smile or artificial dragon devil fruit. I think at this point in time, it's much safer to conclude that Momonosuke can command Zou because of the devil fruit. The devil fruit which was derived off of Kaido's. I'm essentially arguing here that when you awaken the dragon devil fruit, and yes, I'm basically saying that Momonosuke has already awakened his fruit, which would be curious as to how exactly that works and why he's been able to do that, but that's what my theory is. But when you awaken the dragon devil fruit, you have the ability to issue unbreakable commands to various kinds of creatures. You can issue unbreakable commands and you can rescind them. Basically, the dragon fruit awakened is the king of all creatures, the strongest creature. And so this leads us back to the chapter, and I really want to hammer this home because
bars, like being the king of creatures, and Kaido is called the strongest creature. Cube said, I'd see more that Zunisha was punished by the user with Tama's devil fruit. It's the only one that shows to influence a creature. I mean, that's the only devil fruit, yeah, but it's not the only thing in the series that can influence creatures. Again, we see how Shirahoshi, being Poseidon, can influence a creature. So, I mean, yeah, we are talking about devil fruits, and it's tough because we talking about devil fruits, and we talking about ancient weapons, and it's like, how do they all pertain to each other? But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. We know that, but it's like, it's not just the fact that Momonosuke is able to influence Zunisha. It's not just that. It's not like she could just, because he can command it. It's Momonosuke could hear Zunisha as well as command Zunisha. Otama, I mean, yeah, the creatures that she, she could command creatures and she could pretty much communicate with like smile fruit users. But I mean, her devil fruit hasn't been able to, like talk to animals or anything. So like, my thing would be, yes, Momonosuke. Like, I see where you're going because we talked about it before. You said maybe somebody gave him a command and said, "Oh, you can only listen. You can only really, you have to listen to the commands of Kosuke users." Like, let's say I give them the Kibi Dangle fruit and say, "Okay, your command is that you can only listen to the commands of Kosuke." Right? That still doesn't really that doesn't account for the fact that not only can Momonosuke command Zunisha, but he can also like almost talk to Zunisha, like hear Zunisha. So I think it's more than just the Kibi Dangle fruit just having influence over Zunisha. I think it's more than that. I think it's Momonosuke is special. You know, I think it's just a special. He's just a special being that's almost like Poseidon. You know what I mean? The where he can communicate with the creature that you command, and you can also command the creature. You know, like because Luffy was able to listen to, was able to hear Zunisha, but couldn't command it. And you know that part could be, yeah, you could probably explain like, well, you know, the order that was given was to only listen to Koski members, but you know, I don't know. I just think that the fact that Momonosuke is able to hear Zunisha, it has to be something going on as more than just Momonosuke. You know, like a Kibi Dangle fruit being involved is what I'm saying. The Kibi Dangle abilities being involved.
I want to make sure that my ideas are clearly explained. So there's a scene that we don't see, where there's a period of time that elapses between when the guy sees Zunisha and reports it to the conversation with the Gorosei. The line that's missing is the discussion about Zunisha appearing and the potential that Kaido has awakened his dragon devil fruit in order to use Zunisha against the world. Basically, I think that they're discussing whether or not Kaido has either captured or commanded or called Zunisha to him. Because her being here is an incredibly bad omen, which makes sense when you consider the other name of this devil fruit and its potential. So the Gorosei are discussing Kaido and his devil fruit. Probably not Momonosuke, because I don't think that they know about Momonosuke yet. And the overall premise of the conversation is a Gorosei essentially arguing, I think, that it's possible that an ancient weapon may awaken. Zunisha's appearance suggests that it has, and that Kaido knows how to use it. And that's when we actually get to what we get in the chapter, what we actually see. That's impossible. That fruit is nothing but a legend now, even for us. It hasn't awakened for centuries. Basically, the fruit isn't going to awaken, an ancient weapon isn't awakening because it hasn't happened for centuries. It's not going to happen again. The Gorosei is saying we have no need to fear the appearance of Zo. It doesn't necessarily have an explanation for it, but he's not jumping to the conclusion that an ancient weapon is here and ready to destroy the world. And the blonde Gorosei then continues his argument. There's a reason why they gave it another name. They didn't call it the Dragon Devil Fruit. They called it Ancient Weapon, Uranus, or Pluton because of the potential it may happen again. Does this make sense? Or do you guys understand how I've interpreted this? It obviously doesn't have to go this way.
Yeah, I get what he's saying. I disagree with it. I don't think Kaido's devil fruit is what the Gorosei was talking about. I mean, what he says makes sense though. I do believe it makes sense, and I don't think it's necessarily a bad theory either. I think it could be likely as well, but I think, like I said, kind of like what I was saying with you, Cube. I think Momonosuke's ability to really command Zo and communicate with Zo is more of it's something because Momonosuke is special. I think it's more of a special thing that's specific with Momonosuke. Him being a descendant of the Koski. But so I think whatever the devil fruit is, I think it's pertaining to Zunisha. Now I'm not saying Zunisha is a devil fruit, but I believe that Zunisha may possibly ate a devil fruit, that makes Zunisha so special, because we haven't seen these other Zunisha members. Now they could also be now those big beings that we seen in the Florian Triangle. They could be Zunishas as well, like from the same species Zunishas as well. But again, I think it's something special, unique to Momonosuke. I don't think Kaido could control Zunisha, But Cube says, I agree that it's not Kaido's devil fruit. Yeah, I don't agree with it. Not saying it's not a well thought out theory though. Like I do believe, could it be the case? Who knows? I think all theories. I would never completely shut down a theory, you know, just because I don't per se believe it. I would never try to shut down somebody's theory, especially if it's a well thought out and well explained theory. You know, even if it's kind of a reach, I would never shut it down because Oda has gone some crazy places. Like I remember somebody talking about like I remember Momonosuke, like back in Zou, Momonosuke said he met Roger, right? And a lot of people was like, how could he meet Roger when he's only 10 and Roger died like 20 years ago, right? Like Momonosuke's like 10 or 11. And even I was thinking that, even I kind of shut that down, like, bro, that don't even make sense, bro. But somebody came up with theory that Momonosuke came through, like he was shot through time, like Momonosuke came from the past. Like I do remember seeing the theory or somebody talking about that theory that Momonosuke came from the past, and I kind of shut down. I even shut down that theory, and it ended up being true, right? We got Toki. She sent Momonosuke to the future from the past. So again, Q said, I'm not against Momonosuke, but I think there's more to Zunisha's banishment. I mean, again, we don't. There is more to Zunisha's banishment because we don't know what happened during Zunisha's banishment. You know, I just personally don't know if I agree that it has anything to do with the Kibi Dangle ability. But again, like I just said, I wouldn't shut that down either. You know, that because, you know, like it will be a logical explanation. You know, it's one of the few, you know, theories that would be actually logical. You know, so I'm not shutting it down. It's just I don't know. I don't think that's the case personally. You know, I think it's more of a special trait that Kosuke clan members have with these beasts, right? Or maybe Zunisha specifically. I don't know. Just kind of like how Shirahoshi has a special connection with Sea Kings. Not just Shirahoshi, but Shirahoshi's lineage. You know, not everybody in Shirahoshi's family can do that, but we know that there was a mermaid princess back in the ancient kingdom that was also considered Poseidon. You know, so I think it's more of a lineage factor with the Kosuke clan that Momonosuke has inherited. You know, but that's not to say it couldn't. Kibi Dangle couldn't have been involved either. You know, like I'm not shutting down that theory either. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know if, you know, that's the theory that I'm more in line with. You know, it's not a bad theory at all. You know, it's not a bad theory. It makes sense. You know, it would make sense for Zunisha to be controlled by Kibi Dangle that they ate however long ago. But let's go.
There's many different speculations that people have, and I wouldn't ignore any of them. But this is kind of how I see this. We know that Zunisha has a connection to Momonosuke who has a connection to Kaido. They're talking about a legendary devil fruit which goes by another name. Through the transitive property, we can then conclude that the devil fruit that they are talking about is Kaido's. And if you just sit there and think about why a devil fruit would have another name, there's really not too many options that seem likely to me, other than being an ancient weapon. Zunisha, as impressive as she might be, clearly is not at the top of the pyramid, because we saw that some ability was able to command her. So that ability to command her is far more important than whatever ability Zunisha herself has, or whatever she is. The person who was able to command her was Momonosuke, and the devil fruit which he possesses is a derivative of Kaido's. Then again, leading us back to Kaido. Obviously here we're assuming that Zunisha is related to the devil fruit that they are talking about. That may not be true, but I prefer to interpret it this way because I think that it's a little bit too dishonest from an author standpoint to force feed us this connection when they're totally not related at all, and it's just cheap. So if we're talking about Zunisha being important, and that a devil fruit related to her in some way is a legend that has not awakened in centuries, then the devil fruit, which is most closely related to Zunisha at this moment, is the dragon devil fruit. That seems very logical to me. But anyway, if we assume all this to be true, I think that it just makes sense. And also, there's other things regarding Wano that have my curiosity. Kaido clearly knows something about the importance of his devil fruit. Big Mom seems to know something as well. One of the low-key details about this arc, again, that you've forgotten about, that most people probably didn't consider to be important at the time.
I think the importance of Kaido's devil fruit is it's just a badass devil fruit. Like bro, like who wouldn't want the devil, a dragon devil fruit, bro? Like we see how destructive it is. He's shooting blast breath like nothing, and we seen what it did to that mountain, right? It just shot like a big hole, you know. And that was just something casual he did, you know. So it's super destructive. It can fly. It can. You know, it makes him bigger than what he is, but even though that kind of makes him a bigger target. But that's why I feel as though it's so easy to hit Kaido, because it's like he's a big ass target, right? Like, you know, and Kaido already kind of tanks people. But bro, I said that. I've said that. I said because Kaido has the fish fruit, right? I was like, bro, like it's Pokemon, right? Like I was like, what if Kaido had to become a fish first, right? Like he had to be a useless fish that eventually evolved into a dragon. Like he's like a Magikarp, and then he evolves into a Gyarados. It's a carp that evolves into a dragon. It's an OP devil fruit. Yeah, it's an OP devil fruit. That, bro, how can that not be important? You know, when you got something as destructive as that, bro. Like, come on, man. Like, you know, I don't think it has to have any specialness to like Zunisha or ancient weapons in order to be a special devil fruit. It just has to be a super OP devil fruit. Just like the Yami Yami no Mi was a special devil fruit to Blackbeard. You know, because it was special because it helps him accomplish his dreams. You know. But yeah, let's finish this up.
Time that it happened is that Kaido collects the creatures of Wano. Like he's had a baboon on his side. And he tried to capture the lion dog, Komainu, that Tama had. And so I got an interest in these creatures. Why does he have an interest in these creatures? Why is he called the King of the Beast? Why does all of the people on his crew have animal-related devil fruits? It might be because Kaido understands what his powers are, what the great potential of his powers are. Maybe he thinks that, hey, if everyone, a member of my crew, eats his own devil fruit, then me, as the king of all creatures, might be able to control them. Maybe Kaido can issue unbreakable commands to these creatures, or maybe he thinks that he can issue unbreakable commands to his subordinates who have eaten devil fruits. I also want to take a moment to mention the mountain gods that are in Wano. That was present in Oden's flashback, and I think that it would be very fitting for the mountain god, giant creatures, to make a reappearance and be plot relevant in some way, and all of this would make that seem very likely. This might lead us into Kaido's backstory, but I think that Kaido has a lot of reason not to trust his subordinates, and so a power like this could be very interesting. We also have Tama, right? Tama's abilities seem very, very similar to this, and it might be Oda's way of showing that there's other devil fruits which have similar capabilities as Kaido's. But if Kaido's is the devil fruit that the Gorosei are hyping up as legendary and has some ability to issue unbreakable commands to devastating creatures, then you would have to presume that Kaido's fruit is stronger. I personally like to think about Tama's fruit as the friend fruit. You eat a Kibidengo and you become Tama's friend, but you can still act of your own accord, where Kaido's fruit is a little bit more, lacking freedom. It'd be really interesting if this thing about Tama's devil fruit being able to control smiles is used against her at some point in time, where Kaido awakens his dragon devil fruit in the middle of battle. It's easy to think this is really cool as well. I want to throw this out here. I like it when you give all these reasons for the heroes to get stronger, but the same reasons actually apply to the villains, but it doesn't usually actually work out in the villain's favor at all. Well, they say, Haki and devil fruits awaken when you're put in these kinds of battles. Maybe that's why Kaido wants a battle like this, but this battle with Luffy will actually awaken Kaido. That would be crazy.
That would be
and
wild.
then all of the allies from the Smile that Tama has tamed are now untamed. Oh, and now Kaido has power over Zunisha, who just happens to be right here. Oh, the mountain gods. Oh, the Komainu, all of these creatures of Wano, all of a sudden,
I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna
their
explain
god.
later.
What about regular zone devil fruits? Chopper? How about that for a change in fortune in favor of Kaido? But anyway, at this point, I'm just talking. But I am so excited to see where we go from here, what the actual reveal will be, the consequences, what Oda is leading towards. Right now, Wano, Onigashima, peak One Piece every single freaking week. That's pretty much all you need to say. But as always, guys, I'm curious as to what you guys think, whether you know something from the chapter that I might have missed, what your theories are about the end. Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video, subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content, and as always, guys.
Alright. I ain't gonna lie, I kinda like how he explained it at the end. He actually kinda sold me at like near the end. Let me do something real quick, guys. I wanna change the link to because I originally put the last video that we looked at. I put the link to that in the description box, and I want to change it to this video so you guys could go back and I guess watch it or go like the video. Go like his video. So give me a second. All right, that should be the link to the right video should be in the description. But he did kind of sell me on it a little bit. Like I really wasn't really on board with that theory, and I'm still not on board with it fully. But if it is indeed the case that he can subjugate like let's say other creatures or even zone users, right? That would be wild. And the reason what makes me actually kind of like that theory, it would almost be a way for him to decide to leave, right? Like let's say if he has control of Zunisha, he gets his army of Smile Fruit users back from Tama, and he subjugates all of them, and you're like, hey, we're going, right? And even if Chopper is kind of caught up in it, that'd even be wild. But I don't know if I want Chopper to go. That's probably the one. That's the one reason why I would be kind of like, nah, I don't know if I want Chopper leaving. Like betraying the Straw Hats, but like not being able to control it. You know what I'm saying? So, but if it does, it would even give more stakes to it. But like, because I've always said, like, I think that it's possible that, Kaido could end up leaving the battle, right? He could just up and leave. He could just be like, you know what? I don't want to fight for this country no more, whatever. I got Zunisha now. That's a walking country. A walking country. That's like a fortress, right? So if he was able to control Zunisha, and he'd be like, I got this walking country. What do I need with Wano? That, like, I used to have a theory, right? I had a theory that at the end of Wano, Kaido might leave on his own volition. Like maybe he sees that it's a losing battle. He, all his subordinates lost. He lost control of a lot of his creatures. But let's say if he does awaken this devil fruit and he's able to control he could regain control of all his Smile devil fruit users, which he could in a sense win the war still, right? He could still win the battle, because a lot of his subordinates change. They turn coat, right? So if he regain control of them in the midst of battle, kind of like if you watch Star Wars and when they're in the middle of a fight and they be like, execute Order 66, and then all the clones just betray the Jedi while they're not even, they're caught off guard with it, and they can't even really react. And Kaido does something like that. He takes control of Zunisha, and he like, you know what, y'all destroyed. Because like one thing that makes me think that, because during this whole time, like during the last chapter, he was complaining about how Onigashima is being destroyed, and how it took 5 years to build. Like his home base is destroyed, right? This whole thing he built. So if that's the case, maybe he sees no reason to stay in Wano, right? Everything he built has been destroyed. So he sees no reason to stay in Wano. Now he has this control of Zunisha, right? And I'm just going according to his theory, if it's true, and how it act, why I like it. Why I like it. It would give him reason to leave Wano, and we'll see him later, and he could be defeated in this big war, right? Like Luffy, next time we see, Kaido, Luffy would be a lot stronger, so he could probably even beat Kaido in a 1v1 this time. Like without having help and no reasons, why anybody need to help him. He'll get another 1v1 and actually put Kaido down. And if it's in the middle of this war, right? If we get a fight between them and Luffy showing he could actually, even if he doesn't beat Kaido in that either, because I also believe it will open up for something different that I'm gonna go into. But he will be at a point where he could be like, yo, I could stand up to Kaido and I could actually beat you. Like next time they meet in this war, he might even have Kaido beat at this point, right? And then Blackbeard come in and scoop Kaido's devil fruit, and now Blackbeard has the Gorgon on me. He has the Yami Yami no Mi. He has the I can't remember the name of Kaido's devil fruit. I just know it's like the fish fruit, model type dragon or something like that. He does that, and he can control beasts as well, bro. Like Blackbeard would be crazy OP, like ridiculously OP, to where it's like, how do Luffy beat Blackbeard at this point? How do he beat Blackbeard at this point? So I do think this theory kind of opens up the possibilities of one of my previous theories that I had, like, because I've always been of the belief that maybe Kaido won't be put down. Not saying he wouldn't be defeated, because like retreating is a defeat. Him leaving Wano is a victory for the Alliance. If he ups and decides, like, you know what, this isn't worth fighting, no, he wasn't defeated, like beaten by Luffy, but it would be a victory in the sense where he leaves Wano, everybody gets Wano back, and cool. Wano's all good and dandy now, because Kaido's role is not there anymore. Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the likely case, because I do think there is still a lot of reason why Kaido would want to stay in Wano. His weapon manufacturing plants and everything. So I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm saying that's where I kind of do like his theory. The possibility of his theory being the case. But I don't know. I don't know if I would say Kaido's devil fruit is, I don't know if I would say that's the devil fruit they was talking about. I think maybe maybe Zunisha has a devil fruit. But at the same time, I would probably go against that theory too. Because now I think about it, if Zunisha did eat a devil fruit, how would Zunisha be able to walk through this ocean? Unless Zunisha could walk through the ocean, but that's why like Zunisha seems a lot weaker, because the ocean is like weakening it, but it still can't, like, it can't really break the my phone's about to die, yo. It can't break the curse of walking, but it has to walk through this ocean with this devil fruit, and it's weak because the water that is walking in is weakening it, right? Because if you know about devil fruits, Oda did explain how water affects devil fruit. It's not about water that affects devil fruit. It's like still water that affects a devil fruit user. Because if water affects devil fruit users, then rain would affect a devil fruit user, or showers. It's more of still water that affects the devil fruit user, and how much of the devil fruit user's body is immersed in the water. So if like, let's say it's a puddle of water that goes down to the ankles, it's not really going to do much to the devil fruit user, because it's only like your foot is submerged into this water, but you'll probably still feel it. walking through this puddle. And but if, like, let's say half of your body is submerged in the water, you'll definitely probably feel it. Now, and if it comes all the way to your neck, you'll probably lose all strength and sink, right? So, but for something like Zunisha, right, walking through the ocean is probably like it's probably like walking in a puddle, almost like a puddle that goes down halfway, like up halfway your shin, right? Like not fully up to your knees, but halfway from your foot to your knee, right? Or another explanation to it, if Zunisha indeed does have a devil fruit, maybe when it awakens, maybe when that devil fruit awakens, maybe it's the only devil fruit, like that awakening makes it the only devil fruit where water doesn't affect it. But I also say maybe it is affected by the water, because we see Zunisha and it's real sluggish and it's weak and it's old. But maybe that's more the effect of it walking in this water all the time. So I don't know. Cube says, I think it's someone who's been right in front of us for a while. You said ocean weakens doesn't really take you out. Ocean weekends does. That's what I said. Like it's about how much your body. It's about how much your body is submerged, in a body of water. And Zunisha is so big that most of its body isn't really submerged in the water to really make it to where it's useless. But I do think that can be a counter to why it is Zunisha with the devil fruit. So, and if that's the case, and Zunisha wouldn't have a devil fruit, it could potentially be Kaido. It could be potentially Kaido's devil fruit. It's hard. It's hard to pinpoint what devil fruit they was talking about. It could even be Luffy at this point. I don't know. But I do think it's related to. I do believe whatever devil fruit they're talking about is somehow related to Zunisha. Maybe it's, like he was saying, Kaido's ability to subjugate animals, or not. Cube said, wrote that 10 seconds before you said it. Bad timing. That's fine. I know there's a time lapse. I know there's that time lapse. But yeah, so, if and for all y'all listening, if anybody say, oh yeah, water affects the devil fruit, you, it's not water. I mean, it is water, but it's not just the water. It's a body of water, like a still body of water that affects them. And it's also how much their body is immersed into the water that affects them. Like, because if that's the case, rain would be like Luffy would not be able to fight in rain, and we've seen Luffy in rain before. So, but yeah, you guys let me know what you think in the comments or the chat. I mean, after the stream, chat's gonna be over, so let me know in the comments what you think about the video and everything. If you like it, go to the link and go to the original video through the link in the description box and go like his video. Also, go subscribe to Joy Boy. He makes great content. It's not always about agreeing. I just like to hear the perspective of it. I don't necessarily agree with the whole theory, but I wouldn't write it off either, because he made some great points. And if that is indeed the case, I don't know if I would say if Kaido, if the devil fruit they was talking about is Kaido's, bro, I don't know if I would say Kaido is losing to Wano. To throw something like that in the story this late in the game, I don't know if Kaido is losing, at least not losing in the way where he's gonna be put down. Like, if you got that type of ability, bro, you can't get put down right after introducing a factor such as that, But yeah, it's been a long stream, so let's wrap this up. Anyway, it's your boy Sean Peter Blumfgott. Hey! Make sure you like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe. Again, I'm doing a giveaway at 50 subscribers, so make sure you're subscribed. Oh yeah, follow me on Instagram, Twitter, my Facebook page. If you are interested in joining a One Piece community, we have a Facebook group and a Discord. Links are all going to be in the description. I will be streaming tomorrow. I don't really know what I'm gonna be streaming yet. I'm gonna probably do another Reddit theory, like a Reddit theory stream. I kind of enjoy those. I kind of enjoy doing those. So I just gotta find a good theory, a good theory thread or something. If not, I might do a reaction video or something. I don't know yet. It just depends on what I could find, So if anybody finds some good Cube, if you know any, if you're familiar with Reddit and you find any good Reddit theories, shoot that my way. I don't know if I want to do like a reaction video, like a YouTube reaction video tomorrow. So I kind of would rather do like a Reddit theory or something. But hey, if I might do a reaction video. I do so many reaction videos through the week. I kind of I like my Sunday streams to be unique. You know what I mean? And that's where the chapters usually fall in. But we don't have a chapter tomorrow. We don't have a chapter this week. At least the official chapter. I know sometimes the scans come out early for you guys who follow the scans, but the official doesn't drop tomorrow. And I usually wait to the official because I don't like to be confused with any misinterpretations. I like to have the official interpretation of the chapter, But yeah, anyway, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you thought of the video. If you got any videos that you would like me to react to, send them my way. You could DM me on Discord. You could DM me on Instagram. Discord will probably be the best. But yeah, that's all I got. You guys, y'all have a good Saturday evening. I'm out of here. Peace.